My parents were so excited. I think that had to be one of the most exciting days of their life, and I'll never forget the look on my dad's face. He said, if you can do that, you can do anything.
It's more or less what the belt represents, which is our black belt creed, and that's modesty, courtesy, integrity, everything it stands for.
It's one of the few activities that you can do together as a family. I can watch Zach's baseball game. Maddie can do great gymnastics. I can't do any of that. But we can all be out there on the floor together, as we like to say, sweating, smiling, and learning together.
Karate is more like a school education.
What you get for your kids, it's worth 100 times more.
It's huge. What this has done for them is just huge.
I've never wanted a belt so bad in my life.
Attention! Relax. We're on a quest? To be your best, sir! We're on a quest? To be your best, sir! Attention! Back. Prepare for Chun-Ji. Chun-Ji, sir! And begin!
Once a year, the students of Mile High Karate retreat to the mountains to finish what they started years before. It is a weekend that will test them physically, mentally, and emotionally, and in the end will see the realization of a dream come true. These men, women, and children will achieve mastery over every area of their lives. They will become leaders that others will follow. It is a road many choose not to travel, a journey few will attempt. But here, this weekend, these students will accomplish a goal set long ago. They will honor their commitment, and they will become black belts.
We're here in Breckenridge, and we've been coming up for a retreat for the black belt testing for almost 13 years now. The Mile High Karate Schools have been open since 1983. I believe the retreat that we do is unique in the country. It's a testing process, but more important than that, it's a retreat, and it's an opportunity for all the black belts to get together on an annual basis and kind of renew their dedication and focus and make sure we're all congruent and focused on what we're trying to accomplish for our students as well as for ourselves. The adults and the children who are here this weekend are people who, when they were white belts, when they were gold belts, made a decision to be a black belt, and they've been dedicated to that. In many cases, their parents have been dedicated for their child to be a black belt, and the child has been dedicated to be a black belt.
Take a lap, guys, and we're done for the day.
What they all have in common is they made a family commitment to black belt, and they made a commitment to follow through and achieve that black belt in 3 to 4 years.
There's only a couple times a year where we pull everybody from all the schools. So you only see them a couple times a year, but when you see them, it's like seeing an old friend.
I looked at the schedule and thought, there's no way that children can do this. These people are crazy. And then I saw every single one of those kids stand up and do it. And they stood up and they did it, and they had fun while they were doing it. And so they learned how far they can really go.
It's an eye-opening experience in that you get to see and feel how all the black belts before us have made it where they are.
I think it's a sense of accomplishment myself. Seeing that I could do something that maybe I didn't believe I could do or follow through with. After this weekend, it's a sense of accomplishment.
Karate people are some of the neatest people. I've just been so impressed.
Mile High Karate is one of the few experiences in our assessment that the entire family can enjoy, regardless of ability level, age, sex, etc. And there aren't many opportunities for families to really find common experiences that they can all enjoy.
In the Mile High Karate family, you make a lot of new friends that have similar interests and similar goals and similar ideas. And so then values come along with that as well. And it makes a considerable change in your life, because now you are going places, meeting lots of new people, and they all have the same values and principles that you appreciate.
I've gotten to know a lot of the moms, and I kid my kids. I say, when you guys are black belts, that's when I start. And I'll become the student.
I think immediately, once a child's in the martial arts and they've taken 2, 3, 4 classes, that parent can see the child and see that and can visualize the outcome of what child can be, the success traits, leadership skills. They can see the younger black belts in the classroom and see how they behave, their grades. Parents see that and they want that for their child.
As a new student, the evaluation should be is to take a look at the program and decide if it's something that as a family fits into your philosophical values, if it's something that's supportive of what you're trying to accomplish as a family. For a new student, we take a look at the student, try to decide about aptitude and interest. We decide if it's somebody we feel comfortable with working with on a 3, 4, even 5, 6, 7-year basis in order to develop them to a black belt. Once we make that commitment, we've made the commitment to make sure the child or the adult or the family achieves that at a very high level.
You start noticing in their lives how they use martial arts as a standard for everything they do.
Our average black belt is a 7 to 12-year-old with their parents who take classes. So we have a high majority of parents and families who get to that point. But the main thing is it's a process that evolves with curriculum. If a child is a 3rd grader now, they can be a black belt when they're a 6th grader. And it's an easy process to go through. Obviously, the curriculum gets more difficult as we go, but they get walked into that curriculum. The main thing about it is it develops through the process of getting black belt both physical, mental, and emotional skills. And obviously a self-defense component so that a child is able to protect themselves or an adult is able to protect themselves. It's more emotional and character development than it is really the pure physical aspects.
She's looking inward. She doesn't worry so much about what other people think sometimes at school, you know.
Yeah, she was a lot more self-conscious about peer pressure, that kind of thing. I think she's overcome a lot of that.
Her grades have really improved a lot.
They've been talking about this black belt thing for a long time, and that they always wanted, because as a black belt they call you Mr. Colbank, and that Brad, when he was like 6 years old, he was like, oh, he is just, that's all he wanted was call me Mr. Colbank.
It's a really cool thing. We were headed home one night, and he calls from the back seat. He goes, "You know what, Mom? I'm really proud of you. Just made it all worthwhile."
What'd you say that for, Zach?
Because she was doing well, and I thought that she should get a deserving.
One of the things that parents are concerned with often is whether their child can actually accomplish this. We see many black belts in the school, and they've attained tremendous outcomes, tremendous opportunities, and they've achieved a great deal. But the thing is that children with serious ADD or ADHD, adults with serious physical handicaps, we've had adults with heart conditions and back conditions, and we've had kids with mental or emotional problems. And all of those people can achieve black belt at their own pace.
He had emotional issues, and he was in psychiatric care up until we came to karate. And as a result of his first several months in the karate school, he was discharged from his mental health care and has never had to return in 5 years or whatever it's been, and has never had a single issue, never needed any other kinds of emotional help other than what he gets on the floor in that school.
The nice thing about martial arts is, unlike a team activity, is you're not trying to keep up to anybody else's standard. You're trying to live through with and work with your own standards. And we provide that on an incremental basis. So the child is motivated in class, the adult's motivated in class. There's a curriculum that unfolds gradually. There's a high level of physical accomplishment that comes with it, but it accomplishes, that physical accomplishment comes over 9, 12, 18, 24 months. It's not all of a sudden being hit right over the head with it.
She had something called transverse myelitis at 16 months old. She was a quadriplegic at that point, and she's made a lot of progress, and now she is partially paralyzed from the waist down. And so the physical therapist took a look at her special needs and said ballet or karate, and Jenna said, karate.
She makes the most of it, you know, handicap parking, cutting to the front of the line in Disneyland. Not everybody's gonna want to be handicapped, come on!
As a new student, it's very important to be thinking about this now and to get acquainted with the school, get acquainted with the environment and the philosophy of the school, and get acquainted with the process of classes. As a parent, I can assure you that we guarantee every time a child's in class, they're going to have a lot of fun. Frankly, as an adult, every time you're in class, you're going to have a lot of fun. But the important part is this is a school just like any other school. And it's important early on, if you go to Harvard, you're not going to be deciding from midterm to midterm whether you're going to follow through and get your bachelor's degree or get your master's degree. It's very important early on as you enter the school to decide what the outcome is. And in a martial arts school in Mile High Karate, the outcome is to be a black belt. And black belt is more a metaphor for the outcome. And the outcome is confidence and discipline and focus. The outcome is a high level of physical athletic skill, a high level of physical fitness, as well as having the ability to defend yourself if you ever need to.
I think the greatest thing is Master Oliver explaining to me. I said I didn't know if I could make that long-term commitment for my children because they were so young, and I wanted them to be able to choose their own activities in their life. And he said karate is more like a school education, and you don't allow your children to decide when they wake up in the morning whether they want to go to school that day or not go to school that day. And that karate needs to be viewed as something like that, so that if we decide that we're going to do karate and we're going to make a commitment for 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, it's not an option. We made the commitment, we're going to get black belts.
It's so important to realize this is a school, and it's not a recreational activity. So it's a developmental process. Now, it's fun. The kids are going to have a great deal of fun. They're going to get very excited about this, and they're going to keep their excitement level probably over 3, 4, 5 years. However, it's not like soccer league or baseball league. It's more like elementary school. So the parent makes a commitment to bring the child to class twice a week, sometimes 3. The child have a regular class. They're going to have a lot of fun in that class by a very well-trained, professionally developed instructor. And through the processes, they're going to get to black belt. And frankly, for a 5 or 6 year old, it's more difficult to get to black belt than it is to go from 2nd grade to 6th grade.
We watched these other kids from the beginning and how good they were, you know, and how mature they were acted, you know. They had little kids that I thought were like 18 and they were like 11. So it was like, wow, that's good. If we could have kids like that, that'd be so great.
Anybody who got their black belt, anybody that's at a black belt testing in any of the families that we have in our black belt family, the way they got to black belt is to start with one step, setting the goal. And it's a family goal, it's not an individual goal. For a child, the way the goal gets set is frankly this, is the child has fun in class, has a high level of enthusiasm, usually sees some of the other black belt kids and decides they'd like to be like that other child that they've already seen with a black belt. Honestly, a 3, 4, or 6 or 7 year old, they don't understand what 3 or 4 years from now means, and they don't understand the long-term outlook. That's where the parents come in. And for the parents, it's very important to look at it and look forward into the future and say, my 7-year-old, if they were a 10 or 11-year-old black belt and they had all the outcomes that go with that in school and at home, is that something we'd like for our family? And if that parent makes that decision and the child has some immediate enthusiasm and some immediate aptitude in class, and I don't mean physical aptitude, because we have many kids who started in the program who were physically horrible, but they enjoy class and they enjoy the time when they're in class. If those two pieces go in place, then it's a family decision to follow through and be a black belt.
It's more or less what the belt represents, which is our black belt creed. And that's modesty, courtesy, integrity, everything it stands for.
Because we'd only been in a short period of time, and we decided to go with Master Club, and we just kind of came up with the fact that it's like, look what it's done for Carrington. I mean, it's just amazing. He was very bashful, shy, couldn't stand in front of people and things like that. He's very smart, but he was just kind of withdrawn and couldn't,
and he
present himself.
He hated team sports.
Oh, yes.
So we decided to put him in something that would help him out.
And now he's got confidence and just jumps up in the middle of the crowd and goes.
There was no doubt that if we did this, we were going to be black belts. We weren't going halfway, we weren't going partway. We would be black belts.
What led me to that commitment was the people that I was surrounded with at the Lakewood School. And it's just something, as growing up, it's something I always wanted to be, was a black belt. And now that I've made my commitment to go to black belt and beyond, it's very rewarding as I keep learning new things and finding myself being able to do things even today that I didn't think this whole body could do.
I think it's all the energy, the people you meet, and you just want to keep going on and on with your team, the people you've come in with, and just go beyond that. And, it makes you feel good personally.
What many parents are afraid of is that as they take the next step and commit to black belt, that's going to be very time intensive and it's going to be a huge time commitment. And the reality is for the next several years, it's a twice a week, 45 minutes per time commitment. When you get to brown belt, it does become a little bit more time intensive and people have to slot in 6 or 8 weeks to prepare for and be ready for the black belt test. But other than that, it's a consistent twice a week, 45 minutes each class, ongoing consistency.
It started out really, I didn't expect to go too far with martial arts. It was really, I go in there and Mr. Ramser was my first instructor. He was, looked a lot like me when I was gonna grow up. Blonde hair, blue eyes, all that stuff. And so I was like, yeah, I could be like him. And I really thought it was just gonna be something kind of fun activity. Didn't really mean too much to me. And then as it kept going, it just consumed my every moment except for when I was at school. All of my friends were in martial arts. All of my friends trained at the same school with me. If I was hanging out with somebody after school or on the weekends, it was always somebody from the karate school. So it just became my life, and then just learning with the goal setting that is part of the program, just one of those things everybody says when they first start to hear it is black belt, and then along the way it just becomes that. It really does just become your goal, especially as a little kid. And I mean, you hear it all the time, and then all of a sudden you realize that you have said it, and you don't really remember when.
At first, I was kind of like, oh, Mom, can I just do this for a little bit? Well, then I met up with 2 other friends of mine, which are going for a 2nd degree certified with me right now. Well, see, the only reason I'm probably right now in here is because of those 2, because we've been helping each other out through on, and like I would have stopped at black belt. I'm like, no, I'm done. But I decided to go on because I wanted to stay with them and go as far as I can with them.
When they asked me if I was going to be a black belt, I came out right away and just said yes, no hesitation.
We went home and we still have the original paper that he did. He set goals. That we printed out on the computer, and we followed the steps that he had set up, and he still has that exact page in his karate notebook.
I think it was Erin.
We left it up to her.
She really, we felt really
confident that
she would do it.
Yeah, even though she was only 8 years old, and we were somewhat concerned. I asked her point blank, do you think you can do this? Is this something you want to do for the next few years of your life? And she gave us the yes, and we took her by her word.
I'm definitely sure my parents were a little bit skeptical about me being a black belt. Again, I was 6 years old, and I think everything I started, I quit within 3 days. And there's something about karate, when I wanted to go by my 4th, 5th class, my parents knew there was something about this, something about the environment, something about the instructors.
We started karate because of this guy. He wanted to do karate. I even tried talking him out of it. And he was set. He wanted to do karate. We thought karate was going to be another thing that you signed up for 6 weeks, like soccer or basketball, and it was a lifetime commitment.
This school is no different from Harvard. We're one of the top martial arts schools in the world, and we want to make sure that we have a graduation rate that's just as good and a quality of student that's just as good. We want to make sure that as we go through the process, it's a 4-year process to be a black belt, but we want to make sure that we qualify that they're going to be a good fit in the student body, a good fit into the black belt team once they get to that point, and also that they're going to be able to be up to the rigors of getting to their black belt. A university like Harvard only has 1 or 2% who don't get to matriculate to their bachelor's degree once they enter. And our objective with black belts is once somebody's made a decision to be a black belt, they're going to be just the same way. They're going to get very rare exception. Somebody's not going to get their black belt.
The people that are out there are the ones who share that commitment and that perseverance. And it is a very exclusive fraternity.
As a new student, you're also evaluating us. And you're evaluating us both with the material we're giving you here and with your experience in class and your interaction with our staff and our other students to decide whether it's a good fit for your family, whether the philosophy of the school and the outcomes that you see is really what you want for your family.
For people to know that you get a black belt at 10 years old is just an unbelievable thing. I mean, my teachers at school, my 5th grade teacher, I told her I was going up to Silver Creek. I needed to get my homework in advance so I could get it done before I left for my test. She was, she asked me, oh, what are you testing for? I told her a black belt, and she was blown away by it. She couldn't believe that a 10-year-old kid could even be testing for that. And ever since then, just the respect level of what people give you when they find out you're a black belt, 2nd degree, 3rd degree, 4th degree, all that up. They can look at you as a kid. At 20 years old, there's people that I talk to, people's parents, all that, and they, don't think too much, and then all of a sudden they start to realize, that I'm a very nice kid, and then I comes a lot from martial arts. I got all these black belts. I tell them what I went through to get them, and all of a sudden they start treating me like I'm 40. They start treating me more as an adult than, and I've been treated as an adult since I was 12, probably.
I would do it over and over and over. I'm a father, my child's gonna go through it. I mean, it's unbelievable. The confidence you see somebody achieve after black belt, whether they're 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, 40 years old, the confidence after achieving that black belt is just priceless.
You really have to make a choice between one of two options early on. Option one is you're going to do this for a short period of time, and that's all you're going to do with martial arts. Or option two is you're going to be a black belt.
I've never wanted a belt so bad in my life. And it's not just a belt, it's what you work for.
It's very important to realize there's not three choices, there's two choices. There's not, yes, we want to be a black belt, maybe we will, or no, we're not going to. The choice is yes or no. Because what we found is universally that maybe means no, only it means no by default. So without having the real goal to get a black belt, then nobody's going to achieve a black belt. All the hundreds of black belts we have here this weekend all set a goal at white belt that they're going to be a black belt. And they made a definitive goal, not a open-ended one.
The feeling that you get after you've accomplished something, you do or you don't try.
It's unbelievable. When I was 11 or 12, probably one of the most exciting things for me about karate was a chance to be a leader, developing leadership skills, leadership traits. Every little kid, and I don't care where they come from, likes to be the center of attention. And there's nothing better than an environment that lets you to be the center of attention in a positive manner, a way to help you develop your leadership skills, to develop your public speaking skills. And at 11, 12, 13 years old, I was able to conduct a class as well as any adult, and my public speaking skills by the time I was a freshman in high school were better than most college grads. And I contribute that all to Mile High Karate and be able to be a leader and be able to articulate and get my point across and be able to make eye contact and have the mannerisms that go along with that.
Once you decide you want to be a black belt, there's two choices. Option number one is our Master Club. And Master Club is the base way to get to black belt. It's going to get you to all of the physical skill sets that a black belt's going to have, which includes obviously self-defense, but also a high level of physical conditioning and a high level of athletic accomplishments with all the martial arts skills. Also, it's going to get a person to a high level of mental focus, high level of mental discipline, high level of confidence, and having the ability to really focus, set goals, and follow through on those goals. So Master Club takes a person to black belt and beyond and gets them to the point that they're part of the black belt family and gets them to the point where they've really achieved all the physical skill sets. The second choice is our leadership program. And our leadership program is all of the components of Master Club, all the physical skills, whether it be weapons, the forms, the self-defense combinations, and all the physical curriculum, as well as the mental development. But it takes it one step forward and it takes it into a leadership component. And that leadership component is so important because as a college student or as an elementary student, it's important to be able to interact with other people. It's important to take a mentorship role and a teaching role. Our black belts and our leadership people will be able to interact with 40 people, 50 people, and will perform in front of sometimes 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people. So the leadership program takes it to a new level, which is the ability to have a good public speaking skills, good mentorship skills, excellent communication skills and persuasion skills, and excellent ability to relay content and material to another person and to persuade them around to your way of thinking and help them to move to a higher level.
I was so proud of my son when he was testing for a black belt at 10 years old. It's just, there's no words to explain it. It's reflected in everything that he does, from his school grades to how he treats other people. It's all about black belt. It's a way of life.
From what I understand, the big thing at the end where you see your child, I'm gonna cry. When you see your child see that kind of success at age 8 is phenomenal.
My parents signed us both up for a Master Club at the same time, and it was a Christmas gift, and we were both so excited that that was kind of the surprise gift that came out of the closet later. And I think it was just something that we just knew we were going to do. If we were going to start it, we were going to finish it the right way.
You know, it's kind of neat to be able to say, well, yeah, my kids have black belts. You know, people are like, really? You know, it makes us feel proud.
We actually went home and we thought about it. And we kind of put a top as to how much money we would spend and decided, that's what we'll do. Came in and it was actually less than what we thought it would be.
Last year, when Maddie earned her first degree black belt at the mountain retreat, there was a parent gathering, and Master French had pulled Maddie up on the table, and he's like, "Madison Knight, where are you?" And picked her up on the table because she was short, and said, "Madison, no, I'm not saying you didn't earn your certified first degree, but if you didn't, would you do this again?" And she stood up on this table in front of a room full of parents and said, "Yes, sir." And so I think that speaks highly of what the children have been able to accomplish.
I just thought it'd be cool to have a black belt.
As I think back, when I was watching Laquita go through it, and she outranked all of us. She was 6.5 years old, and she was working hard. They were pushing her, and she was being pushed. And when she walked over to me during a little break, and she sat on my lap, and she looked me in the eye, and she was crying, and she said, "Daddy, if I want my black belt, it's up to me, right?" And I went, "Oh my God." I go, "Well, yes." And she says, "Good, because I'm not quitting." At that point, I'm trying to be the strong one, but I could not hold it. I just had to cry. I knew I was doing the right thing at that time.
What I did is I went into the money that I had set aside, some of the money I had set aside for his college, and thought that this would, he's not, instead of using it at the time he's 18, we're gonna start working, building steps to get him to college, and that this would be a great way to start and the path to take. And so I felt very comfortable and just taking the money right out of that college fund and just paying the whole thing up front.
I think making a commitment is important, and we never wanted to quit. We were going to do it. We wanted to do it all the way.
Looking back now that it's been 12 years or so, 13 years, the amount of money that we invested in our children has came back and tenfold easy.
Talked back and forth. It was a lot of money because this was a big family. It was not like it was just one person. It was a family of 4, and it was quite expensive.
Well, so we thought.
Yeah, what we thought. But what we have gotten out of it, man, there's no way that I would, change what we did for what we've gotten out of it.
It means, like my mom, that I'm able to do things I probably couldn't do if I was not in karate. It means I'm among peers who try and support me. And I'm among people, black belts, higher black belts, who are willing to help me do what I need to do.
We thought maybe in the beginning a monetary consideration, but after watching the program and seeing how the Master Club works, all the new and innovative stuff that they get to participate in, no question in my mind it was the right move.
I've been sitting here listening to many of our families and many of our students, same as you have been. They're coming out of a very emotional black belt retreat weekend. Some of them have been to 10, 12, 15 of these, and some of them it's the first time ever. And I've been doing it for 20 years, but it never gets old because it's just so incredible. The impact that has been had on the kids, on the adults, and on the students, not the impact of the weekend, because it's just a culmination point of many years of training. It's a marvelous opportunity for everybody to come together and to share and have a marvelous retreat, but mostly it's a culmination point of an incredible impact emotionally and physically that have been had on the children, on the families, and on the connections that they have here with our organization, with our instructors. It comes down to the fact that as a family they made a decision to be a black belt. And this is the culmination of that decision. And the ultimate outcome is all the impact it's had in their life and everything they've become. And the recognition of that is this weekend.
It's starting to feel like all our hard work's paid off.
Matt, one goal.
It's gonna feel real good. It's gonna feel real good.
It's a really good feeling because you see some kids come in and they can't even do a front kick, or they don't have any balance at all. And then you see them progress through the belt ranks, and I know that I'm the one that helped them through it. And it's a really good feeling once you see them get their black belts.
Well, I'm gonna feel accomplished, but my goal's not over because I'm gonna keep pursuing my goal onto the next belt and the next belt on.
We were original students of Lakewood, and just seeing what it's done for kids of all ages. I mean, kids of 40 years old. I mean, I can still consider myself a kid. But what it's done for kids of all ages as far as how they feel about themselves and what they feel that they can do for themselves. And that's what I saw with both of our girls when they went into the Masters Club. Just that they told themselves that this is what I was going to do, then everything that they tried, whether it was school or home or anything else, they knew they could do it if they just told themselves they could. And just seeing what it's done for our family, what it's done for many families at the schools that we've attended, we wanted to be a part of that. We wanted to make changes in people's lives.
We're gonna feel really great and glad that we got it.
They will have earned it.
I'm going to be so proud I can't stand it.
You know, it's shown that they haven't given up, and it's real easy to give up. But I think that's one of the things that's really neat is that they've stuck it out, and not that many people do it.
I think anything that you commit to, anybody that's gone to college or anything, there's always been that moment where you falter. And the thing about Mile High Karate is they will not let you fall through the cracks unless you are determined to fall through the cracks. You know, they will call you, they will pursue you, they will see what it is they can do to help. And a couple of times things just weren't clicking for me, and I thought, what am I trying to prove? And the head instructor at our school, you know, he says, if you don't talk to me on the phone, I'm coming over. So here I am.
I feel like what we're doing is a passion. This is something that we love, that I love. I love doing it, and I could go all day, all night. I could start at 7 o'clock. And to see the kids and the families that we touch because of martial arts is unbelievable. It's that feeling that you get that, hey, I may not can touch the whole world, but today I did touch that one.
My parents were so excited. I think that had to be one of the most exciting days of their life. And I'll never forget the look on my dad's face. He said, you know, if you can do that, you can do anything. And he was really, really excited. My mom was she was in tears. It was a really exciting day for her.
Pretty wild journey. They've learned a lot. They've learned an awful lot. And we've learned a lot about how strong they really are. They're pretty incredible kids.
The next step with a student and family is to sit down with the program director and instructor and to receive a thorough evaluation on how their child or how they are doing on the program and whether Master Club is an appropriate fit and whether they qualify for that, or whether leadership is a better fit and whether they qualify for that. If you already have an appointment with the program director and instructor, you need to spend some time talking as a family before that about whether you're going to be serious and be a black belt someday or not, and set that goal. If you don't have an appointment, please set that appointment, because it's very important to get a thorough evaluation and decide whether black belt on a long-term basis is going to be best for you or not. And we'll be making a decision on that within the next week or two.
I've heard it said about Mile High Karate before. Looking back, you know, that's like the $1 million guarantee. The money, in hindsight, is nothing in comparison to what each of the children have obtained individually with their leadership skills, their discipline, their focus, their integrity. I mean, everything that we live, the principles of the black belt, is expanded to other areas of their life. You know, in baseball, Zach's baseball coach talks about how Zach is such a leader. At school, how Maddie is such an inspiration to other kids. And the teachers say how she is just an example and a leader. So it's brought all this together individually and then as a family unit, just all the time we were able to spend together. And what that's done for us as a family and helped us grow, you can't put a price tag on that. And so it's it's a commitment. In hindsight, I can honestly say, you know, if I knew then what I knew now, it wouldn't have been any kind of a hesitating factor for me at all. We would have gone absolutely forward.
Elated. Very happy. I'm very proud. And very grateful to Mile High Karate, too, to have given Joe the opportunity and the support and the tools that he needed to see it through.
They were what I was trying to find. I could go out and buy martial arts training someplace. I could go out and buy gymnastics to help his balance. There's a lot of places you can go in the metro area and learn how to kick and punch and what have you. And if that's what you want, you can buy that in a lot of other locations. But if you want people who are going to be invested in your child's life till they grow up, if you want a place that's going to have a history where when they grow up and want to bring their kids back, they're going to still be here and they're going to be invested in another generation. That's what these people are. You can't buy those at the rec center. You can't buy that in soccer club.
I think the part that means the most to me is that if there are moments when you're faltering or you need a little extra support, all the instructors and all of the owners are more than willing to sit down with you and find out what it is they can do to personally help you. I know a number of the people at our school, they're on my phone list, and I can call before we came up here and I said I need help on something, and they're all right there. And the support that you get for him, you know, saying, you know, come on, Zach, you need to really focus, you need to not fidget. So it's coming from someone other than me. It takes a village, and the village is Mile High Karate.
When I received my black belt from Master Oliver, that was something that was very special to me because I worked very, very hard to earn that black belt. And I find that anything else that I do in life is relatively easy compared to what I had to do to get to my black belt. And it's very near and dear to my heart that I was able to get that, and especially from somebody like Master Oliver.
Yeah, I actually, for the monies that I paid, I think I've gotten the best deal in everything. Yeah, I remember Master Stephen Oliver saying, if I could give you all your money back and you give me back your belt, would you do it? The kid said no, and I was like, no. I mean, it is, but money is always relative. I mean, you spend your money on the things that you think are important. So when people say, oh, we've referred a lot of people, oh, I can't, the money's not there, or we don't have the money for that. You have the money for it when it's important enough. And it was important enough for us, it was important enough for Bryce, and it's important enough to my 6-year-old that he stays there. And when it's important to them, then you make other sacrifices, because in the end, the most important things are the growth of the child. Everything I read is the education. Education is priceless, and it really is. And I look at this as being part of his education. This is education of life.
It's worth 100 times more. 100 times more. What you get for your kids, it's worth 100 times more.
You get what you pay for. There are some things you're willing to skimp on, but your kids' mental health and their ability to plan for their own future is not something you want to buy at a bargain.
I am incredibly proud of these children. It's huge. What this has done for them is just huge.